Okay, hi everybody. This is David Snepp with the Coalition. We're here in Columbia, South Carolina. It's great to be Friday. Yes, I know a lot of our ambassadors are out and about in the country today, including, I know Jim has been in Washington this week. I think Patrick was at an important conference today. I think that was in Washington. But we're here in Columbia, South Carolina, talking to one of our great ambassadors, Samantha Bowick. Samantha's got a brand new book, Alpha-1, that comes out on Tuesday. And so we're just really fortunate to be here with her and her special guest, her mom, Marie, who's here. And both of them are co-authors of this great book that's coming out on Tuesday. What a fantastic accomplishment this is, this
Thank
book.
Thank you so much.
Can you tell me a little bit about how it started and what's the background on this book?
Yeah, so my mom was actually diagnosed with Alpha-1 Antitrypsin Deficiency in 2008. And after I published my first book about endometriosis, we decided to do this book to help other people.
And tell us a little bit about Alpha-1 for people who don't know about the disease.
Okay, so a lot of it is genetic. There's ZZ, which is what my mom has, and that means she has Alpha-1 Antitrypsin Deficiency. And then you can be a carrier, which is MZ. So Alpha-1 Antitrypsin Deficiency occurs when a protein isn't made properly in your liver, and it can affect your lungs and your breathing.
How did the disease affect you when it first began?
I had a lot of shortness of breath, and I lost a lot of lung capacity within a year. And so my doctor decided to do a genetic test, and I said, okay. And then it come back, and it was negative that I had Alpha-1. And that's when I started getting weekly treatments of the medicine that I'm now receiving.
How old was your brother when he was first diagnosed?
You were 46, 47, and he was shortly after, yeah. So, and there's a year between them.
So about 12 years ago, we were both diagnosed with it. But he was not treated through the VA because he wouldn't quit smoking.
Right.
And how long did he live with it?
Knowing that he had it, it was about 10 years.
Samantha, this book that you've written, it's not the first book that you've written.
Right.
You're a prolific writer. That has to be a part of your advocacy, is your writing.
Yeah.
What does writing do for you in terms of being able to deal with your own disease?
I feel like it helps me release some of my stress and anger with having endometriosis, and I'm also a carrier of Alpha-1. And so I think it helps me get out a lot of my emotions.
How long did it take you to write this book?
It was close to a year.
Mm-hmm. And tell us a little bit about what your research, what did you find about Alpha-1 that you did not know before?
What did I not know before? I didn't realize how rare it was. We knew up front that it was rare, but I didn't realize that only 100,000 people in the United States have actually been diagnosed. So there's people out there that have it that don't realize that they have it.
They think that they have COPD, but it's really could be Alpha-1.
Right.
Do you think there's more people out there that have the disease that just don't know it yet, and they think it's COPD?
Yeah, and maybe they're not showing all of the symptoms that my mom has, for instance, from having Alpha-1.
My doctor didn't really know about a lot at first about it, and me and him together have learned a lot.
Yeah, she was actually his first patient that had Alpha-1. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's significant.
Yep.
The Chronic Disease Coalition exists to fight discrimination against patients. What have you found in the healthcare system, either in your own chronic disease or Alpha-1, that you have recognized patients being discriminated against?
I think recently I feel like I've been discriminated for not having health insurance and being able to pay expensive amount of money up front for procedures. As far as
I'm able to get the home.
When you were in the hospital, a lot of people didn't know about Alpha-1, and she actually had to have someone in the cancer department give her weekly infusion.
My first infusion was gave in the doctor's office. Right now, a home health nurse comes to my house, and I get weekly infusions. But I also have a hardship case because I wouldn't be able to pay for the medicine if I was not able to have the hardship case.
Because you're on disability from having Alpha-1.
Right.
And Marie, what kind of a financial hardship is it for the particular therapy that you're on?
Right now, it's not because I'm on...
But it would be at least $100,000 a year easily for the
If I had
treatments
to
that
pay
she
for
needs.
it out of pocket, I would not be able to afford it. So I would not be able to get it.
And essentially, that's what's keeping her alive.
And Marie, you told me that you were an outdoor person before you got this. How did it impact not only that part of your life, but your work life?
That impacted me a lot because I've always worked. I'm a very independent person. I had to give up a lot. I'm not able to go outside and do the stuff that I used to be able to do. I'm not able to do some of the stuff that I used to be able to do in my house. And it's very depressing, which I'm on depression medicine. I just wished they would have known about it before mine got so bad, because I am on oxygen. I'm just not using it right at the moment. But most of the time I do use it.
And what are you hoping for this book? You helped author this book.
Right.
And what are you looking for from the book?
I told my story through the book, and hopefully it will help more people that have COPD to be tested for Alpha-1, because it could be Alpha-1, which is a genetic disease, but it still could be Alpha-1 instead of COPD. And hopefully it's not, but it could be.
And I've already had like 3 or 4 people reach out to me through Instagram that were just diagnosed with Alpha-1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it's very interesting because my mother actually had COPD, and this was something that we did not know about in the early 2000s. So she was also on oxygen, so I know how that has impacted your life.
And both of my parents were carriers for me to end up being a ZZ, because you get one gene from your mother and one gene from your father.
Wow.
Right.
Well, you know, Samantha, it seems to me, having worked with the coalition, you've been such a great ambassador.
Thank
You've
you.
faced your own chronic illness. Can you tell us a little bit about what you've faced and how you've dealt with it?
Yeah, so I was actually diagnosed with endometriosis back in 2010, and I've had 6 surgeries from it, including a complete hysterectomy. And I've tried many different treatments that didn't help, and really the only thing that's given me relief is excision surgery. There's no cure for endometriosis, and so that's something that you have to come to grips with when you're diagnosed. And I think through telling my story, I've been able to help myself as well as others that have been diagnosed, just to get my feelings out and then make other people realize that they're not alone.
And listen, you've written about that as well in this book. Let me have that. This is a beautiful book that Samantha authored. When did this book come out?
It came out April 2018.
2000, and you've already won a book award for it. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so this is actually the Best Book Award from American Book Fest, and I won that last year.
Wow,
towards the end of last year.
congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
fantastic. You and I talked a little bit about it. What does writing do for you in terms of the endometriosis?
For me personally, it helps me relieve some of my stress and anger, and then I can help other people realize that they're not alone in how they're feeling, and that maybe there's something that they haven't tried that I did that could possibly help them.
And I know that you've met many people through social media, because I watch what you've done online. Linda, I think, is one of those. You've partnering with her, or you've worked with her. It seems like online you guys know each other. Living with Endo. Yeah.
Yeah.
What has the partnership done for you being online? I mean, you've been able to meet people
Yeah,
who've
it's really
also
been
faced it,
incredible, because a lot of times we don't feel like meeting people in person because we're in so much pain and other symptoms that we're having. So to be able to meet people through social media has been really helpful.
And you're an ambassador with a coalition. What has that done for you?
that's helped me reach more people, I feel like, and to see what other people are suffering with in the chronic disease community.
And that's going to be important that you've been exposed to the other ambassadors.
Right.
I know Uncle Jim is listening to us right now. You know, he's fantastic. I've never met him personally, but I feel like I know him because he's just bigger than life. He's up in Washington a lot, meeting with lawmakers. How important do you think that is to
I think that's
advocacy?
extremely important. Yeah.
I have watched her suffer so much with endometriosis. I just wish they would make it
A disability.
a disability.
Yeah. And I think that would be huge for a lot of chronic diseases too as well.
Have you worked with your lawmakers in South Carolina
I
on that?
have tried reaching out to them a few times, but I really don't get any response. So I'm trying to figure out what other avenues I could do with that.
Do you think it's a matter that they need to be educated about this disease?
Definitely, yeah.
So really the Chronic Disease Coalition has a role to fill in this particular disease, making sure that lawmakers understand and are aware of all these different diseases, but this one too. And then you're claiming that it needs to be made a disability.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, endometriosis can also come with other illnesses. A lot of people that have endometriosis have other illnesses. I do. And so those illnesses can impact us as well.
Yeah. And I understand that in the next couple of weeks, you're going to have, this is released on Tuesday, this book, Living with Alpha-1, and then you've got a big book signing in Greenville, South Carolina.
Right, and that's on the 28th. It's on a Saturday.
And congratulations on that.
Thank
That's
you so
fantastic.
much.
What bookstore is it going to be
It's
at?
actually going to be at a library, Five Forks Library in Greenville.
At what time?
2 to 3.
Okay, that's fantastic. And then, unfortunately, I understand that you've got some medical procedures that have to be done, at the end of September?
Right, it'll be September 30th, yeah, and it's unrelated to endometriosis.
Oh, okay. Well, nevertheless, they're always, a hurdle to get through.
Right, yes.
So we're really hoping the best for you.
Thank you so much.
And getting through it. And your mom, Marie, thank you so much for coming down, or up here, I guess, to Columbia today.
As you can see, I'm now wearing my oxygen because a lot of people with Alpha-1 do end up being on oxygen. And if you smoke, please quit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that's a tough one. My mother smoked, and then she had COPD, and then she got lung cancer. So it's a very tough one.
She smoked for like 35, 40 years.
I was a smoker.
And I see also that Cynthia is watching us, the disabled diva.
Hi.
From California. And if you follow Cynthia, you know that she loves Disneyland. And so maybe she's at Disneyland today, but she's a fantastic ambassador. She's a fantastic advocate. Uncle Jim is on here watching.
Thank you so much, Jim.
He's just great. And we're just so lucky to have so many good people being a part of the coalition. So with that, we'll just say goodbye to everybody. Have a great weekend. We're going to do an interview here, and we're going to use parts of that interview later on as we move forward throughout the year and continue the advocacy with the Chronic Disease Coalition. But wishing everybody a very happy weekend. Have fun, Jim. Have fun, Cynthia. And we'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, now.
Okay, now, let's see, how do we... Well, but that was great. I think we're still...